Welcome, guys, and we're gonna do some coding today. I'm not really gonna talk that much, so the code that we're working on today is quite a data structure and algorithm. Those that are quite familiar with a big O notation, you might ask, what is big O notation? Well, just imagine that. Actually, let me just document it first before I begin writing my actual code. Let's just say that what is a big O notation, right? You might ask. Well, big O notation, think of imagine that uh yeah, there you go. Imagine that essentially you have give me a second. Just gonna yeah. Okay. So imagine when you have a list of okay. Actually, just gonna do this much better. Just make a space between that. So right, uh, big O notation is essentially, think about when you have a list of items, or let's just say that a list of names, right? In this case, and you're trying to find literally the first list or the first item in that list, right? Whether it's fruit. In this case, we're gonna use a fruit, right? Let's just say that we're looking into apple in particular in that list, right? So to find that, what do we need to do, right? And the first essentially function that turns the first item in the list, that is what we call big O notation, which is an algorithm that is predominantly used within the industry, right? It's much easier to use it, and the result never really changes, right? It will always be sort of the same, right? No matter how long, how big the list is, you will always eventually get the item by, its position, right? Meaning that an index, right? So no matter how large the item, the list is, no matter how long it takes, it would always take the exact same amount of time to find that item that you're looking for in that list, right? So, what does this mean now? So, this will be something in the lines of, let's just say that there's gonna be, right? There's gonna be, uh, essentially, there's the time complexity of it, right? Which is O1, right? At exact time, right? So essentially, what this means is that getting an item by its position, right? And by index. So what this means is that no matter again how much of how many times or how large that list is, right? Let's just say that. What does this mean again? Let's just say um, getting an item, right? By its position, right? So essentially, what this means is that by its position is constant time operation, right? So again, essentially, what this means is that no matter no matter how large, right? How large the list, actually, there you go. No matter how large the list sort of is, right? You can always sort of, get the first item in the list, right? In the exact list. So nothing really changes now. So how do we write the code then? Let's just say that in this case, we're trying to do fruit, right? Fruit, right? and then in this case fruits equal, and then let's just say that we want bloody banana. Actually, let's just put it this, right? So we want what? Banana, apple, and mango, right? In this case, we have this, right? So what we're gonna do is get, okay, underscore first underscore fruit, right? Underscore, okay, right? So turn, let's just say that, right? So the reason why is this happening, remember we talked about it, always what, sorry, just always what, always grabs the first item on the list, right? First item on the list, right? So let's just say that we're trying to, oh god, right? What the heck's wrong, man? Okay, print, and then we're gonna do here, we have to declare that we get in the first okay, then the first, well, what is in the first list, right? You might notice here, if we go here, we have what? Banana, right? So we have what? Banana, right? So now let's do something, okay? So now we need to get on the, right? So we have O, okay? This is the linear operational, right? Meaning that getting an item by its position in a linear time operation, right? What does this mean again? Well, if you trying to find a particular item, right, on that list, then now this will make it much easier to find that item in that list, right? So before, again, this one here, we knew that O1 essentially what it does, right? Getting an item by its position in exact time operation, right? So meaning that no matter how large the list is, you will always get the first item in the list, right? But this time we trying to find a particular item in that list, right? Let's just say that we want to find what is it called, an apple or a mango, whatever it is, right? So what we're gonna do is that essentially it's right, what we're gonna do is, right, the same is okay, and we had that, right? So what we're gonna do next, sorry, okay, it gets, actually it's gonna be found, right? So we have to find the actual underscore fruit, right? And then I hate this auto correction, man, right? So what we have now is, instead of a fruit, we're gonna do target, right? So that's what we trying to target, and then from there on we're just gonna do what, okay? So now we know that for fruit, right, in fruits, right, we have what, okay? And then if fruits, right, then we have the target, right? The target, right? So essentially what this means is that, you know, Give me a second. Also here, I forgot to make it a code. So what this means is that it goes through the list, right? This is literally goes through the list now of the fruits to find that particular item that we're looking for, right? And what is it called? The target. This what is that? Is that it find whatever that we're looking for, right? And now we have the return of a fruit, right? So the return of a fruit. So let's just say that the target returns, right? Not found, right? So let's just say that now print right. Let's just say that we want the apple, I mean the banana, right? So what does this do? Target is what? Banana. Okay, so what is this? The only change that we made over here, remember, right? It was literally just improving the here you seen the comments that we have. It's always good to leave a comment or a document you code. It's a good practice, that way that you don't have to, you can always come back constantly, right? And then we used two examples here of for percent. We have what? O1, right? We also have what? ON, right? So again, this is essentially why we need it, right? So this is the code here, but to perform this code, we have to also write the testing, right? For what this means is that there's a reason why I have two files here, big O, and I also have what? Test underscore big O, right? So now we're gonna do the testing, okay? And the reason why this is important, the problem is that the test big O notation literally does not really know the function over this, right? So now that we have the function over here and the test, this is sort of becomes very important. And the reason that's the case is because what again? We cannot, this code will not be actionable. We cannot run it without the test case, right? Which is why we need it. So now we know that. So let's do the testing, right? So let's say from, we have the big O here, right? We have the big O, right? And then we gonna do get, right? Get first, okay, fruit, get, and then we have what again? We have, okay, so now this is essentially the test, right? So testing the fruit, okay? So now what we're gonna do, what we had the, I don't know if you guys can hear that, my background. Okay, so we're gonna do get, okay, the first underscore fruit, right? And then essentially we have this two brackets, right? Okay, now what we need is that we gonna absurd, okay, absurd the get, actually is it yeah, underscore first and then underscore fruit, and then in this case we had, okay, there we go. Then now we also have to square, okay, then we're gonna do get, okay, we had, okay, the apple, because remember here the list we had what? Banana, apple, and mango, right? So we just kind of banana, apple. So now we have the last one, which is the mango itself, right? So now that we have all of this, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna Sorry. We have that. Actually, sorry. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is, okay, mango. Okay. Okay. So now what we're gonna do is what? Print all of it, right? Print all of it for the test. Then now what we're gonna do is testing again. So this time is gonna be the full. Okay. Fine. Okay. Fruit. No, I don't need to right now. Okay. Right. And then we have what again? That's the first fruit, right? So kind of have it. I have the auto correction here, so I guess I don't need to run it. But now let me just run it, okay? So first thing first, to run it, to run the test. What I need is get first under fruit, right? Okay. And then there we go. So fine. Okay. Okay, so now we have the testing and everything. We also have the actual code here. So let's just try to run it. You see, file, did you mean to get a fruit? Okay, we have an error here. So let's just, this is the error, right? So get first. Okay, fruit underscore, then test, fine. Okay, now let's try to, all right, so this is big O notation, guys. So okay, the banana, the result, okay, and this is the testing. There we go.